In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to get data into R. I'm assuming that you're brand new to R. If you've already worked with it before, you already know how to do all of this. Like all professional statistical platforms, R is really touchy about how it accepts its data. So we're going to go through that first, and then I'll show you the command to actually upload it into R, which is actually quite straightforward and simple. For this example, I'm going to be using a beautiful data set from the Isle Royal Wolf Moose study that's been ongoing since the 1970s. It's been conducted by John Vucetich, Rolf Peterson, and their colleagues at Michigan Tech University. You can download the data from this study freely online. The data file is native Excel format, but you can open it with essentially any standard spreadsheet platform, including Google Sheets or Apple Numbers or whatever. What you see then is a very nicely organized data repository for an ecological research study. Because there's so much data, they organized it across multiple sheets. The sheet we're after is called population level data. Once you have your data, your first order of business is to organize it into a formal data frame, because that's how R is going to expect it. So here I've cleaned up the data frame in the following ways. First, I changed all the variable names to text strings without spaces. R doesn't want spaces in variable titles. Next, I replaced all of their notations for missing data, which they have as n/a, with what R requires, which is just simply NA without a slash. Finally, I removed the super header that they have labeled wolves, moose, and climate. It's very useful for us, but R would choke on it. Once you have your data frame all cleaned up, I strongly recommend saving it as a comma-separated values or CSV file. Be sure to save the file into the directory where you plan to perform your analysis. In this example, I'm saving the file into a folder I defined called R Basics. Now, you don't have to do this, but if you don't, it's going to become very complicated later on. So now we're ready to upload data into R. It's time to launch RStudio. When you launch RStudio, this is what you're going to see. Really what we're doing is we're interfacing with two different programs, RStudio and R. RStudio is what's called an integrated development environment, which gives you all the stuff that you need to write programs in the other program package, R, which is a programming language. So this is how you're going to interface with R. Now, your screen may look a little different than this. I've got mine set to dark mode. Yours may not. I don't think it defaults to dark mode. And you might see a different organization of windows. But this is what you want. The three things you want to look at. First of all is the console. This is where you can enter individual commands into R. This prompt right here is what's called the command prompt. And anything you type on that line, R is going to interpret as a command. So for example, suppose I want to just multiply 5 times 5. I'd write 5 times 5, again using the asterisk for the times. Hit return and see it comes back with 25. If I want the log of 25, the natural log, I just write log of 25, hit return, and it gives me the logarithm. So that's what the command window is, and they call the console. The other one that we want to look at is the environment. The environment is up here, and right now it's empty. This will make more sense as we get moving in R, but this is where the variables that you define and assign are going to be held. And then the other one is the file, so this gives you the directories that R is currently looking at. This next step is very important. We want to make sure, before we try to load our data frame, that we know exactly where the data frame is, because we have to tell R exactly where it is. What you want to do is look here. This is the current working directory. Like I said, this is where R is focused. We want to look to make sure that the data frame that we are going to load is actually in this window. And in our case, there it is. The Isle Royal Wolf Moose Data Edited.csv is the one that I had cleaned up and saved. If for some reason yours is not, then you can change the directory by going up here. If you look here, you can see that there is the actual path, the series of folders and directories in which our file is residing. If you need to change it, come over here and click these three buttons, and you'll get this dialog box where you can browse to wherever your data frame happens to be. So here we are, ready to put the data into R, and I'm going to type now the exact command that I'm going to use, and I'm going to explain what I'm typing here in a minute. First, I'm going to type the word main. And then I'm going to type an arrow that's pointing towards main. And then I'm going to write the command read.csv. Right? And now I'm going to put the entire file name in quotes. And it's Isle Royal Wolf Moose Data Edited.csv. And now I'm going to put a comma and write the word header, and then equals true, equals T, and then hit return. Once you've typed all that and then hit return, nothing seems to happen. It just goes right back to the command prompt and there's nothing there. But actually what happened was it put into this variable main all this information, and you can see that all the way up here in the environment. Notice when I hit it, now suddenly we have this thing called main, and what it's telling us is that there are 61 observations or 61 rows, which includes the header frame and also all of the sample units, plus the 17 variables, which are the columns. There's 17 columns in our data frame. Now, if you want to see the entire data frame, all you got to do is come over here and double-click main. Just double-click it, and it'll give you a view of the data frame in a spreadsheet-like environment. And there's all the data right there that you can browse through and look at it if you wish. And now you're ready to go. You can start writing scripts. You can start running commands directly from the console and begin your analysis of this data set.